Hey Rob, we're going to make that top line, which is I think is the one you're making, the large sourdough. I'll make this one by hand as you do. I will be making some others today with the machine, but we'll make this one by hand. So we're going to do the autolyzing, which is just the flour and water only. Weigh out the water, weigh out the flour, nothing else. We'll start to mix it with the wooden spoon. Just to try and combine, well not try, we will combine all the flour and water together. We don't have to develop the dough, so we don't have to knead it or anything like that, just to make sure all the flour and water are combined. And then we're going to cover it and leave it sit for 4 hours is a good time, but however long you can, without being too excessive. Over 4 hours, I think I'd leave it in the fridge. During all the steps, so we've got to make sure when we're not doing anything with the dough, we keep it covered so it doesn't get a skin on it. So now I'm just bringing it together by hand, as you can see, and then we'll scrape down the sides of the bowl and then mix that in so there's no dry bits. Once it's all combined, just put the lid on and we'll leave it sit for 4 hours. Once the time's up, however long you can give it, we're going to weigh in the salt and the starter. So you'll see my starter here. If your starter's not the same consistency, maybe you'll want to change it a bit by either more water or more flour, depending on which way it is. And if your consistency of your dough is different to mine, that will be because we're using different flours, so you may have to change that. In the beginning, this is a good consistency to have. As you do more and more, you can start making it a bit wetter for a different result, but for ease of trying to get a good result in the beginning, start with it around this consistency. So you see we just mixed in the starter and salt by hand on the bench. You can do it on the bowl if that's what you want, but this is the way I prefer to do it, find it easier. And then we're just going to knead it for 5 minutes. The kneading in your video was really good, mate, so just how you were doing that. Temperatures where we want it, just around the 26, 25 point something there. So after 5 minutes, we're going to sit it in the bowl, put the lid on and leave it sit there for 20 minutes. 20 minutes later we'll do these stretch and folds. Once we've done the stretch and fold, we put the lid back on, leave it sit for 20 minutes and do it again. And then again, so 3 sets in total. Once we've finished the 3rd set, which is the one I'm doing now in the video, just make it nice and pretty on top. Stick the lid on and leave it sit to double in size. It's going to take about 2 hours in my kitchen. Now it's doubled in size. Scrape it out onto the bench, and this is the pre-shape we were talking about. We're just going to use a plastic scraper to pre-shape. All we're doing is building tension on the surface of the dough, so when it bakes off it can expand without tearing all over the place. And just keep turning it and pushing it back. It grabs on the bench and it just makes it tighter. So we'll do that, and then we'll put it aside, covered again for 20 minutes, and then we'll get our bowl ready. I'm just using a metal bowl with a hairnet in it. I've got rice flour on the side there, and after the 20 minutes is up, I'll take that piece of dough again and we just do exactly the same as we did for the pre-shape with the scraper, and we're just building tension again on the surface of the dough. We don't want it too tight that we start tearing it. And once we've done it, we'll roll it in the rice flour. Nice side down in the rice flour. Don't need any on the bottom of it, which will be the top, if that makes sense, or is the top and will be the bottom. Put it into the bowl. I didn't do such a good job shaping it, so I'm just pulling in the sides there. Try not to tear the dough, but just trying to get it in nice and tight. And then I use a shower cap to cover it. The temperature in our house, I'll leave it sitting out for about 20 minutes. Then I'll put it in the fridge overnight. Away it goes. So this dough I'm just going to show you to do your sandwich, how to mould it. This is another one I made. That's how you would mould that one and then put it into your sandwich tin. Mine's going to go into a Banneton, but that's how you would do it. Seam down though for yourself into your sandwich tin. That's my Banneton. So this is the next morning, or next afternoon actually. Sprinkling it with rice flour again. Flipping it upside down on the peel. Giving it some cuts. And then I've got the oven already at 230. Which isn't time for the dentist, it's time for the bread. I've just got a few more loaves to put in there. So once they're all in, then I'll add my steam. This is how I do my steam. I've got a tray of rocks in there, very hot. Tip the boiling water in, and then that'll steam. 20 minutes, 230. Then I'll take if there's any water left in there, I'll take the steam tray out. If not, I'll just leave it in there. And bake it until we get to about 97. That one got to 100. Take it out, let it cool completely. And then that's the end result, mate. Yeah, give us a bell if you've got any issues.